Hello friends. So in today's video we are going to discuss on the topic called why Indian youths are unemployed. So for this situation there are many reasons. There are many more. There are historical reasons, social reasons. They lies in the economic structure or the economy of India as well. So in today's video, one by one, we'll have a look at various reasons. So nowadays we see a lot of protest, lot of dharnas, and so many incidents where Indian youths are coming on street and fighting for decent employment. So let's take a look at various reasons why Indian youths are unemployment and what is the reason behind this situation. So the first in one is we have a faulty education system. It doesn't mean that Indian education system is so bad, but it means that even though education system offers literacy, language, and science and historical perspective to an individual, but still it lacks the the factor which gives employment to one particular individual. So if you see the curriculum of today's vocational courses like engineering, computer education, so we will see that those curriculums, those syllabus are outdated. They are not relevant to the industrial standards. So it somehow it wastes the time of parent, student, and as well as the energy of student, which in end it leads to the frustration. So we see a lot of student, boys and girl, they do an professional course, maybe 3 year, 4 year, and after completion of that course, you will see there is a no job for him or her, even though he is or she is appearing for job interview. The interviewer feels that this person has a piece of paper, but he doesn't have skills, knowledge which can be utilized to grow a business or to improve a business. This is one example, or this is one factor. Apart from that, we have a nowadays private education system. So this private education system is also somehow responsible for the unemployment crisis. In urban areas, you see there are many private schools which somehow offers good or decent quality education. But what about those? What about those though who cannot afford private education? So they have to enroll themselves into the municipal education. And what is the issue with that municipal education quality? Since most of the bureaucrats, politicians, big people in government system, they enroll their student or their boys and girls into the private schools. So the quality of this government school is not up to the mark. I mean, sometimes there's a situation like the boy is not able to do basic mathematics. Fifth class student is not able to read the basic books which class 2 students supposed to read. That's about education system. Let's come to the next thing, that is the corruption, or the I would say corruption which hinders the ease of doing business in India. Guys, why ease of doing business is important? See, we have to understand one thing, that government institutions or schools or semi government institutions cannot offer jobs to everyone. So we need a businesses, creation of business is required, or we need a youth to start their own business, and for that there has to be ease of doing business. See, if you have to open business or you have to run that business, or maybe at some point of time you may have to close that business, but there has to be smoothness in it. If you have to start a business, process should be smooth, friendly. There should not be any hindrance. Single window clearance should be there. There should not be like the below the table cost to get the things approved. Nowadays, we heard of the thing like if you have to buy a house, they are so expensive. It is because these municipal officials they ask for the bribe from the contractor, and it adds into the cost of total housing project. So ease of doing business is must in India. It's because of the corruptions done by the people and people in the system. That is the second factor I think is responsible for the huge level of unemployment in India. So third thing is like infrastructure. Now in the photo you can see the image. How is these kacha roads can contribute to the economy? Now let's not talk about the huge highways and huge roads, bridges, flyovers in the tier 1, tier 2 city. Let's talk about roads in the villages, because we have to understand that economy is not just about the cities, metropolitan cities, cosmopolitan cities. It's also about the villages, because 60% of the population of India lives in the villages. So we have to take care of the village men. We have to take care of the people living inside our villages. So infrastructure is the one thing which can contribute immensely in their life. They can do business, they can trade, they can transport their agriculture produce from village to the urban market. If road is good, if road is not getting vanished in the monsoon, then in there they can do the trade. This is the third thing. Now let's come back to the fourth thing. It is more social, it's not economic infrastructure or economic thing, but it is more social. See, in India is diverse country and we have so many religions, and under religion we have so many castes, and then after caste and religion we have a gender. We have a gender bias. We have economic class, poor, rich, middle class, upper middle class, lower middle class, ultra rich, abject, very poor. So we have so many economic classes. So this is truly social thing which hinder the social mobility. Sometime we heard of the news that people from so-called lower caste cannot access public toilets, public tank, temples, restaurants, schools. So in such a situation, in such a social complex situation, how can we expect social mobility? How can we expect a young person to develop the capability which will offer him employment? We have a different religion. Nowadays there is a lot of hatred among the religious people, like person from religion A is hating person from religion B and vice versa. We have a gender bias system, or gender bias, gender biases or gender based discrimination at workplace, at schools, colleges, and in public places. We have a class system, like the rich person, poor person, middle class, upper middle class, lower middle class. Rich person can acquire assets and earn money from it. Poor person cannot. He don't have access to the assets. It could be financial assets. It could be social asset. It could be knowledge asset. But since there are barriers of caste, religion, gender, class, it is very hard to climb the ladder of social mobility upward. It is very hard for a young person to get employed to develop the capabilities because of this barrier. Now let's come back to the next thing, that is the research and development. In the picture you can see the one lady doing something in the lab, and this is something like research and development we can call. See, we have to understand one thing, that the industry develop or grows, it is because of the innovation and the creativity they can offer to the customers. In India, a lot of expenditure is done by the government for the public sector. So public expenditure is high, but the private expenditure is not up to the mark. See, if there is expenditure on R&D, then we can have the employment. We can have the young researcher and the junior researcher who can work upon it, and will have the meaningful job and meaningful employment. And after their outcome, we can utilize that knowledge, that outcome, to the developing new products, services, technologies. And if we have the technology, if we have the meaningful knowledge resources, it could be anything. It could be information technology, biotechnology, or maybe something like aviation, space. So if we have the technical capabilities, if we are spending on research and development, and if there is a good outcome, then obviously we can attract the foreign capital, which will be utilized to develop good business model. So we really need to spend research and development. The next thing is the reason behind unemployment crisis in India is the parental pressure on the boys and girls to pursue particular career. So parents pressurize boys and girls maybe to pursue career in particular field. It could be engineering, medical, law. But sometimes that boy wants to pursue some creative work. Maybe he wants to pursue acting, dancing, singing as his career. But many a times we see that parents do not allow it. And somehow, unfortunately, that boy has to pick up something which is not in his heart, and he get hurted. He has to do the job which he doesn't love or which he hates. So parental pressure on the student is something, I think, is the reason behind the unemployment crisis in India. Is not the main factor, but it is one of the factor. Now we have legacy of the Sarkari jobs. That's a next factor. We have a legacy of socialism. 20s, we have a legacy of bureaucratic structure. We have a legacy of the Sarkari job with status, money under the table, and which is somehow contributing to this unemployment crisis. These boys and girls are spending their 20s, the most precious years of life, most energetic years of life, to the preparation of such exams. Many are able to crack it, but most of them are not able to really crack it, and it's a waste of investment, waste of time and energy. They hardly or barely are able to utilize that efforts into something else, and somehow they starts. I mean, it gives them a lot of pain. So I think these are a few reasons behind unemployment crisis in India. I hope you liked my video. You can share with your friends, you can subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching my session. Have a good day.